if running a health and fitness business solely consisted of training people, helping people reach their goals, helping people change their lives, then I was all ready to go. I had just spent the better part of 3 years training a whole assortment of different people and got an opportunity to train people from the age of 14 to 83 and pretty much every age in between. So I was ready. I was experienced. I had seen quite a bit, not to say I'd seen it all, but I'd seen quite a bit along the way, and how I was able to build my book, build my list of clientele, build my approach to training, my knowledge, the whole 9 yards. If that's all it was about, I was good to go. Unfortunately, it's not. And unfortunately back then, simply because I wasn't really prepared. And I don't think you ever can be unless you have a business background. I don't think you can ever be prepared for the business side of a business, the financial side of things. And you know me, I'm not very good with numbers, the marketing side of things. And I was good at selling myself. I was good at selling my approach, selling the results I can get for clients. I was better and better at that with each person I spoke to during that time working at a gym. But there was so much more to it. I had to start utilizing social media much more than I had been. I had to start thinking outside the box, really, taking different approaches as opposed to just training people. I changed the entire format of how I did things from, for example, selling session by session packages to a more comprehensive monthly program approach with longer commitments, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and so forth. So I had to make a lot of changes, which meant making a lot of mistakes. And I fully admit, and really even to this day, I don't necessarily have a head for business, if you will. As I've said several times on this show in the past, I didn't have a business background going in. So I didn't, graduate college with a degree in business or marketing or public relations or advertising, anything that would give me a leg up, not necessarily on the competition, but a leg up on myself trying to build a business. So when I say I was learning it from scratch, I truly was learning it from scratch. It took listening to people. It took surrounding myself with people that I know, like, and trust, who, when they say something, when they share something, because they've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, that I listen, that I simply got out of my own head and out of my own way and listened to what they had to say. That was the most important thing for me, to be coachable. It's funny because I said that for many years. I was a youth sports coach for well over a decade and back into it now. And coachable is a term that I use quite often. Actually used it recently talking with a client of mine about the youth soccer team my son is on that I coach, how the group as a whole is truly coachable. They want to listen, they want to learn. I had to do the same thing. I had to stop, believing that I knew it all, because sure as hell no, I didn't, not even close, and never will. But I had to simply stop and listen and trust that when somebody who has my best interests at heart says, do this, that I simply do this. I follow that plan. I follow that approach. I take those steps. And that was the hardest part for me because, let's face it, so many of us, guys especially, we have our own foolish pride. We don't want to be told what to do. We want to figure things out on our own. I tell people all the time when it comes to like electronics, I like to fiddle with it till I figure it out. I hate having to call tech support to get some help on something that I believe I can figure out. So that mindset carried over into this business. I wanted to figure things out on my own and quickly realized that simply wasn't going to happen. It's the old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And if I didn't plan ahead by surrounding myself with the right people and listening to what they had to say and taking advantage of their expertise and their generosity and their willingness to help, I wouldn't get as far as I am today. I still, all those people I've turned to. I mean, Amanda O'Mara, my original coach from way back when I first started my business. Jonathan Loudermilk, Mark Zalmanoff, the list could go on and on. So I'm not going to name everybody. They know who they are. Those are all people that I had to just stop, shut up, and listen to what they had to say, and then implement what they said. And once I started doing that, I started seeing results. But the most important thing was I also started seeing how I wanted to show myself as a business person, how I wanted to appear, how I wanted to approach things, and specifically the kinds of clients I wanted to work with. You'll come to learn, and it's not just health and fitness industry, but it's any industry. Once you decide to start a business, you can't help everybody. Trying to help everybody means more than likely you're not going to help anybody. And I had to learn that. I had to learn not to take things personally when people said no. I actually had somebody say no earlier today, as a matter of fact, and I wished them well and sent them on their way in whatever direction they were headed with their health and fitness journey. I hope they succeed. I don't take it personally anymore. I just move on to the next person I can potentially help. I focus on the people I'm already helping. That's where I put my energy into, my attention, my focus into. Back then wasn't the case. I would stew over why somebody said no. And yes, you have to learn from each instance. Maybe there was something I did or didn't do that would have flipped the switch and had them sign with me. But ultimately, all I can do is try to help people. What they do with it, and if they choose to sign up with me specifically, is entirely up to them. Once I discovered that, then it was time to really hone in onto the type of clients that I want to coach.